Hello everyone, welcome to Create with Almat. I'm Almat and in this video I'll walk you through my process for drawing hair in Ibispaint. This is just me sharing my process, so take whatever you find useful. When I first started digital painting in 2018, I searched for different hair brushes to make the process easy, but I always ended up with weird looking braids. Eventually, I started blurring out the hair in my illustrations. I know, it's so embarrassing to look at now. Anyways, I wanted to get better, so I started studying from other artists and I noticed they all had something in common. They are not busy drawing every single strand of hair. It is treated as a whole object rather than single locks. Based on everything I've said so far, these are the steps I follow when drawing hair. Number 1 is shape. I first define the bigger picture. 2 is volume, which basically means flow lines to indicate movement or hair direction. 3 is texture. This is where I start refining by adding details to make it look more realistic and believable. I start by drawing in the face. For an in-depth tutorial on how I draw faces, you can check out my previous video. The names of the brushes I'm using you can find at the bottom left of the screen and also in the description box. First thing is to start with the general shape of the hair. It makes the next step so much easier. Then I start parting the hair and drawing this rectangle shape for each lock. You don't need to follow the reference exactly. You can exaggerate the shape but try to make it look as natural as possible. I'm still following the initial shape I drew. So for each lock, I make swirling curves along the sides to make it appear rough. And then I start drawing random curvy lines within the lock, slowly building up darker shades and adding flyaway strands. Create rough edges along each lock. Underneath the sketch layer, color in the hair and erase the areas for the pattern. Start drawing random lines across the lock. Add shadow areas. Then darken the locks by choosing a darker color and drawing random lines and also adding highlights to each lock. Add more depth to the shadow areas and start adding baby hairs. For this, I'm using the hairbrush. For box braids, I follow almost the same rules. For each strand of hair, I draw these curving T shapes and then I curl the edges into one another just like this. And for shading, I darken the middle area between the braid and the edge using strokes. So first, draw in the overall shape of the hair and then draw in the box pattern. Make sure they are of equal spacing. Then draw in the rectangular shape for the hair strands. It's a braid, so remember the ends are going to be tapered off. I decided to make my braids shorter because it would take more time to finish, but I'm sure you get the point. Then on a new layer below the sketch layer, color in the hair and erase the areas for the pattern. Color in shadow areas and start shading the braids. Add deeper shadows and baby hairs. It's just like braids, but the difference is that it wraps around the head and you get to see more of the scalp. I start with the overall shape, then I draw out each row, tapering off the beginning and the ends. Then I drew in the curved T shapes. I decided to twist off the ends, starting from the middle part. So I made these curves along each strand. For twist, all you need to do is curve one end into another, like this. I'm using the hairbrush in shading. It really helps in making it look realistic. The shading is the same as that of braids. I darken the middle area between the braid and also along the edges. As for twist, I darken the areas where the curve meets. For the first 4 braids, I didn't lay in a base color and it was looking too shiny, so I put in a base color for the last 4 and it turned out just fine. It's much like the locks, only this time we are not joining the visual strands. I start by drawing in the shape of the hair. I'm just going to be drawing in tight curls like this. I rough out the edges, put in a base color and start drawing out the tight curls. Then I erase some of the base color around the edges and areas where the light is hitting. If you erase too much, you can always cover it back up. I add in more details and it's all done. Same rule applies. When shading, start with a lighter shade and gradually increase the intensity of the shade. Also pay attention to areas where the light is hitting and don't shade all completely. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to smash that like button, and if you enjoy my content, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.